Hey folks, welcome back to Stoic Quotes 365. Let me start with a simple but powerful question. What if you had the ability to say something so impactful that it made people unable to stop thinking about you? It's not about manipulation or trickery. It's about understanding the psychology behind human connection and how the right words, when said at the right moment, can leave an unforgettable impression. In today's video, we're diving into the fascinating world of communication and emotional connection, exploring what makes certain words irresistibly magnetic. Whether you're trying to deepen your bond with someone special, spark a connection with someone new, or simply become more memorable in your daily interactions, this video has something for you. Let's face it, folks, most of us have said things we wished we could take back. Maybe you've been in a conversation where you tried too hard to impress, or maybe you held back and said nothing at all, only to later realize the moment was lost. It's frustrating, right? But here's the good news. With the techniques I'm about to share, you won't have to guess what to say anymore. You'll have a toolkit of phrases and approaches that are backed by psychology and proven to work. Why are words so powerful? Think about it. Words have the ability to shape perceptions, evoke emotions, and create lasting memories. The right words at the right time can inspire, comfort, and even ignite attraction. On the flip side, careless words can create distance, misunderstandings, or even resentment. That's why learning how to use words intentionally is one of the most important skills you can develop. Not just in relationships, but in life. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, isn't this just common sense? And sure, some of it might seem straightforward, but here's the truth. Most people don't take the time to understand how their words affect others. They either say too much or too little, missing the sweet spot where connection thrives. What I'm about to teach you goes deeper than the surface. It's about using language not just to communicate, but to connect. Why does this work for everyone? The techniques we'll cover today aren't limited to romantic relationships. They apply to friendships, professional connections, and even casual encounters. The principles are universal, because they tap into something fundamental about human nature, our desire to be seen, understood, and valued. Whether you're talking to a friend, a colleague, or someone you're attracted to, the power of your words can transform the interaction. Before we dive in, let me share a quick reminder. If you find this video helpful, take a moment to hit that like button. Your support not only helps this channel grow, but also ensures that these valuable insights reach more people who need them. And hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time to join our community. Turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming content. We've got some amazing topics lined up that you don't want to miss. Why is it so easy to get this wrong? Over the years, I've noticed that many people struggle with what to say in key moments. They either overthink it and come across as awkward, or try too hard and end up sounding insincere. It's not their fault. Our culture doesn't really teach us how to communicate effectively. But here's the thing. Once you understand the psychology behind why certain words work, it becomes a lot easier to say the right thing at the right time. For example, have you ever complimented someone only to feel like it didn't land the way you hoped? Maybe it was too generic or felt forced. Compliments are powerful, but only when they're specific and earned. This is something we'll explore in the first step of this video. How to give meaningful compliments that leave a lasting impression. And that's just the beginning. As we move through the 7 steps, you'll learn techniques like the golden mirror, a method for reflecting someone's dreams and values back to them in a way that feels deeply personal. You'll discover how to master the art of ambiguity, keeping people intrigued by balancing clarity with mystery. and you'll find out how to plant thoughts of a shared future in someone's mind without coming on too strong. What makes these techniques so effective? The strategies we're diving into today are rooted in psychology, specifically the principles of Stoicism and human behavior. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our words, our actions, and our presence, and let go of what we can't. When you apply this mindset to communication, it becomes a game changer. Instead of trying to force a connection, you create an environment where the other person feels drawn to you naturally. Let's pause for a moment to think about this. What would it mean for you to master these techniques? Imagine being able to walk into any conversation with confidence, knowing that your words will resonate on a deeper level. Imagine the relationships you could build, the opportunities you could create, and the sense of self-assurance you'd carry with you everywhere you go. That's what this video is about, helping you unlock the power of your words to transform your connections. Before we jump into the first step, I want to set the stage with one final thought. Communication is an art, not a science. While the techniques I'm sharing are powerful, they're not about following a rigid formula. They're about understanding the dynamics of human interaction and using that knowledge to create genuine, meaningful connections. When you approach this with authenticity and intention, the results will speak for themselves. So, folks, are you ready to learn how to use your words to become truly irresistible? Stick with me until the end, and I promise you'll walk away with insights that can change the way you communicate forever. Let's get started. Number 1. Unlock the magic of meaningful compliments. Let's start with one of the most powerful tools for creating connection: compliments. Folks, giving compliments might seem like a simple thing, but there's an art to doing it in a way that makes it unforgettable. A well-timed, meaningful compliment can leave someone thinking about you long after the moment has passed. But when done wrong, it can come across as forced, shallow, or even insincere. So, how do you make your words matter? It all comes down to depth, timing, and authenticity. At their core, compliments should make someone feel seen and appreciated. But here's the catch. Not all compliments are created equal. Saying something generic like, "You have a nice smile," might feel nice in the moment, but it's something they've likely heard dozens of times before. If you want your words to stand out and resonate, you need to go deeper. You need to show that you've truly noticed something unique about them. There are 2 key principles to keep in mind when giving meaningful compliments. First, they need to feel earned. What does that mean? Instead of rushing to shower someone with praise the moment you meet them, let your admiration unfold naturally. Take your time to observe and connect. Compliments are most impactful when they come from genuine moments of recognition. For example, if you've been talking to someone and notice how thoughtful they are, don't mention it right away. Wait until their actions truly reflect that quality. Then say, "You know, I've noticed how thoughtful you are." It's rare to see someone who genuinely pays attention to the little things. This makes the compliment feel intentional, not random. The second principle is specificity. A compliment carries more weight when it highlights something unique about them, especially when it ties into who they are beyond the surface. Instead of saying, "You're so smart," you might say, "The way you explained that earlier was so clear and insightful. It's obvious how much thought you put into it." Specific compliments show that you're truly paying attention, and that level of care is what leaves an impression. Here's where the golden mirror technique comes in, a powerful strategy that takes your compliments to the next level. This technique involves tying your words to their dreams or values. If someone mentions their ambition to become a writer, for instance, you might say, "You have such a natural way with words. I can already picture people being moved by the stories you create." By reflecting their aspirations back to them, you're not just offering a compliment. You're validating their goals and helping them see the best version of themselves. It's not just about admiration. It's about inspiration. That's what makes this technique so effective. But while depth and specificity are key, it's equally important to balance sincerity with a touch of playfulness. Compliments can create emotional depth, but if the tone becomes too heavy, it can make the moment feel overly serious. After offering a thoughtful compliment, you might add a playful twist, like, "But don't get a big head about it." This lightens the mood, keeps the energy fun, and shows that you're comfortable enough to joke around. It's about making them feel valued while keeping the interaction natural and engaging. On the other hand, one of the biggest mistakes people make with compliments is overloading them. Giving too many compliments in a short time can feel overwhelming or even insincere. The goal isn't to flatter excessively, it's to make your words count. A single well-placed compliment is far more impactful than a string of generic ones. If you're unsure where to start, here's an exercise you can try. The next time you're in a conversation, listen carefully to what the other person shares about themselves, their passions, their struggles, or even a small detail they casually mention. Then, think about how you can frame a compliment that ties into that. If they mention how much effort they've put into a project, you could say, "It's inspiring how dedicated you are to your work. It's clear you really care about what you do." This approach ensures your compliments feel personal and meaningful. Compliments work because they tap into a universal human desire, the need to feel valued and understood. When someone feels that you genuinely notice and appreciate them, it creates an emotional connection that lingers. They'll associate those positive feelings with you, and that's what makes you unforgettable. Remember, folks, the magic of a compliment isn't just in the words. It's in the thought and intention behind them. When you give someone a meaningful compliment, you're building a bridge that deepens your connection. So, as you move forward, think about the moments where you can make someone feel truly seen. Be specific, be thoughtful, and don't be afraid to let your admiration show. And if this resonated with you, comment below, "I compliment with purpose." Let's affirm our commitment to building meaningful connections through the power of our words. And folks, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more tips on mastering the art of communication. Next, we'll explore the golden mirror technique in depth. How to reflect someone's values back to them in a way that leaves them captivated. You don't want to miss this. Let's keep going. Number 2. Reflect their dreams. Through your words. Reflecting someone's dreams back to them is one of the most powerful ways to create a meaningful connection. Everyone has aspirations, goals that fuel their sense of purpose and give their life meaning. When you show someone that you not only hear their dreams, but also genuinely believe in them, it sends a profound message. I see you for who you truly are. This level of understanding isn't just memorable, it's magnetic. To start, you need to listen with intention. Most people hear the words others say, but they don't take the time to really absorb their meaning. When someone talks about their ambitions, it's not just about what they're saying, it's about how they say it. Are they animated when they talk about their dream job? Do they speak softly but passionately about a cause they care about? These subtle cues reveal the depth of their feelings and give you insight into what matters most to them. Once you've truly listened, it's time to reflect their dreams back to them in a way that feels personal and inspiring. This is where the golden mirror technique comes into play. The idea is simple. Take what they've shared about their goals or values and incorporate it into your response in a way that validates their aspirations. For instance, if someone tells you they want to become a teacher because they love helping others, you might say, "You'd be an amazing teacher." The way you explain things so clearly and connect with people, it's easy to see you inspiring a classroom full of students someday. This kind of response doesn't just acknowledge their dream, it reinforces their belief in themselves. The beauty of this technique is that it helps people feel understood on a deeper level. But for it to work, your words have to be genuine. If you're simply repeating their words without truly believing in what you're saying, it'll come across as hollow. Authenticity is key. When your reflection comes from a place of admiration and respect, It resonates in a way that feels both real and meaningful. It's also important to balance depth with lightness. While reflecting someone's dreams can create a powerful connection, you don't want the conversation to become overly intense. Adding a playful remark can keep the energy fun and engaging. For example, after telling someone they'd be an amazing writer, you might add with a smile, "Just promise not to write anything too embarrassing about me." This kind of playful comment keeps the tone balanced and enjoyable. Timing is crucial. Reflecting someone's dreams works best when it happens naturally. Wait for a moment in the conversation when they've shared something significant, and use it as an opportunity to reflect back what you've heard. Forcing this approach into every interaction can make it feel rehearsed or insincere. A well-placed reflection, on the other hand, can leave a lasting impression that feels effortless. When you reflect someone's dreams, you're not just offering encouragement. You're building a connection rooted in mutual understanding. People don't forget how you made them feel, especially when you've made them feel seen and supported. By taking the time to acknowledge their goals, you create a space where they feel valued and appreciated. Here's a simple exercise to help you practice this. The next time you're in a conversation, pay close attention to what the other person shares about their ambitions or interests. Think about how you can tie your response to their dream in a way that feels genuine. For example, if someone mentions their dream of starting a business, you could say, "You've got such a great vision. I can already picture your ideas coming to life." You'd create something incredible. This approach not only validates their aspirations, but also leaves them associating you with those positive emotions. Ultimately, reflecting someone's dreams isn't about saying the perfect words or coming up with a clever response. It's about being present, listening deeply, and responding with care. When you reflect their aspirations in a way that's authentic and thoughtful, you're offering something far more valuable than words. You're offering connection. And that's what people truly remember. Comment below, "I reflect dreams." Let's affirm our ability to connect on a deeper level. And folks, if this resonated with you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to keep exploring the art of meaningful relationships. Next, we'll dive into the power of actions. How to communicate without saying a word. You don't want to miss this. Let's keep going. Number 3, speak through actions. Not just words, all right, folks. Let's dive into something that holds way more power than most people realize. Speaking through your actions. Words can be impactful, sure, but actions are unforgettable. They show who you are, what you value, and how much you care, all without saying a single word. When your actions align with what you want to convey, they become a language of their own, one that's far more genuine and lasting than any clever phrase could ever be. Think about it. How often have you heard someone say one thing but do another? It creates confusion, mistrust, and sometimes even disappointment. That's because words are easy to say, but actions take intention and effort. And when someone sees that your actions consistently match your words, it creates trust and admiration. They'll feel drawn to you because they know that what you do comes from a place of authenticity. So, how do you speak through actions in a way that leaves a lasting impression? It starts with small, meaningful gestures. Grand gestures can be impressive, but it's often the little things that have the biggest impact. For instance, remembering something they mentioned in passing, a favorite coffee order, a stressful deadline, or a goal they're working toward. And following up on it shows you're paying attention. Maybe you surprise them with that coffee, offer encouragement when their deadline approaches, or check in on their progress. These subtle acts of thoughtfulness say more about your care and character than words ever could. Another key is to be consistent. Actions that speak loudest are the ones that happen consistently over time. It's not about a single moment of kindness or effort. It's about showing up again and again in ways that matter. For example, being dependable, keeping your promises, and offering support when they need it most, all show that you're someone they can rely on. And trust me, folks, reliability is one of the most attractive qualities anyone can have. Now, let's talk about acting with intention. Sometimes, The best way to communicate is through what you choose not to do. For example, instead of reacting impulsively when someone upsets you, showing restraint and responding calmly demonstrates emotional maturity and self-control. These moments of intention are subtle but powerful, showing them you're someone who thinks before acting and doesn't let emotions dictate your behavior. Here's a practical way to speak through actions. Show, don't tell. If you want someone to feel appreciated, don't just say, "I appreciate you." Show it. Do something that reflects their importance in your life, like taking the time to help them with something they're struggling with, or simply being there for them when they need support. Actions like these don't just tell them how you feel, they prove it. This leads us to another important point. Be present. In a world full of distractions, your undivided attention is one of the most meaningful actions you can offer. When you're with someone, put your phone away, look them in the eye, and actively listen to what they're saying. This simple but powerful act of presence shows that you value their time and their words. Now, folks, let's tie this back to Stoicism. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Stoicism is all about focusing on what you can control, your actions, your behavior, your responses. Instead of telling people who you are or what you stand for, let your actions speak for themselves. When you live with intention and integrity, people will naturally take notice. One thing to remember is that speaking through actions doesn't mean staying silent or avoiding words altogether. It's about letting your actions reinforce your words, creating a sense of alignment and authenticity. For instance, if you say you care about someone, show it by being there for them in meaningful ways. If you talk about wanting to grow as a person, take tangible steps towards self-improvement. When your actions match your words, it creates a powerful sense of trust and respect. Before we wrap up, here's a little exercise for you. Folks, think about someone in your life who matters to you. What's one small, thoughtful action you can take today to show them that they're important to you? Maybe it's sending a quick message to check in, offering help with something they're working on, or simply spending quality time with them. Whatever it is, make it genuine and watch how it deepens your connection. So, folks, remember this. Words can inspire, but actions build trust. When you speak through your actions, you're showing the world, not just telling it, who you are and what you value. And that's a language everyone understands. Comment below, "I let my actions speak." Let's affirm the power of showing up with intention and authenticity. And if you're finding these insights helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Up next, we'll explore how to plant thoughts in their mind that keep growing long after you're gone. You don't want to miss this. Let's keep going, folks. Number 4, the power of ambiguity. Keep them guessing all right, folks. Let's talk about one of the most underrated yet powerful tools in human interaction: ambiguity. There's a certain allure in not being completely predictable, in leaving just enough room for curiosity to flourish. When you master the power of ambiguity, you create an air of mystery that keeps people intrigued, engaged, and coming back for more. But let's be clear, this isn't about playing games or being dishonest. It's about adding layers to your interactions that leave them wanting to know more. Think about it. When you can predict someone's every move or thought, the excitement fades. That's why we're drawn to people who keep us on our toes, who challenge us to think and feel in ways we don't fully understand. Ambiguity isn't about confusion, it's about subtlety. It's about revealing just enough to pique their interest while leaving space for them to interpret and wonder. That's what keeps the connection alive and dynamic. The first step to embracing ambiguity is not oversharing. Sometimes we feel the need to explain everything or fill every silence with words. But this can work against you. If you reveal too much too quickly, you leave little for the other person to discover. Instead, try this. When someone asks about your weekend, resist the urge to give a detailed play-by-play. Instead, say something like, "It was interesting. got into something I wasn't expecting. That's it. Leave it open-ended. Let them ask the follow-up questions and watch how their curiosity grows. Another key to keeping them guessing is to balance clarity with intrigue. You don't want to come across as evasive or uninterested. That's not the point. Instead, aim for responses that are engaging, but leave room for interpretation. For example, if someone compliments your style and asks where you shop, instead of listing specific stores, you might say, "Oh, I like to pick things up wherever I travel. Keeps it fun." This response is clear enough to keep the conversation flowing, but mysterious enough to make them wonder about your adventures. Now, let's talk about timing. Ambiguity is most effective when used sparingly and at the right moments. If you're ambiguous all the time, it can become frustrating. The goal is to create moments of intrigue that stand out against a backdrop of authenticity. For instance, during a conversation about hobbies, you could casually mention a project you're working on without going into detail. Something like, "I've been working on a little side project that's been taking up a lot of my time. I'll tell you about it soon. It's pretty exciting." This creates a sense of anticipation and leaves them wanting to know more. Folks, let's bring in a little Stoic wisdom here. Epictetus said, "Silence is safer than speech." In this context, it means that choosing your words carefully and sometimes choosing not to speak at all can be more impactful than saying too much. Ambiguity isn't about withholding. It's about being intentional with what you share and how you share it. When you create space for curiosity, you also create space for connection. Another way to use ambiguity effectively is through body language. Sometimes, the subtlest gestures can say more than words. A knowing smile, a raised eyebrow, or a thoughtful pause can add layers of meaning to a conversation without saying a single thing. For instance, if someone teases you playfully, responding with a smile and a light shrug instead of a verbal comeback can make the interaction feel intriguing and dynamic. But here's the most important part. Folks, ambiguity works best when paired with authenticity. The goal isn't to confuse or mislead, it's to create a balance between openness and mystery. When people sense that your ambiguity comes from a place of confidence and intention, they'll be drawn to it. They'll see you as someone with depth, someone worth getting to know on a deeper level. Before we wrap up, let me leave you with a practical exercise. The next time you're in a conversation, practice holding back just a little. Instead of laying everything out at once, share one intriguing detail and let them ask for more. For example, if they ask about your favorite travel destination, you could say, "There's this little town I visited once that completely stole my heart. I'll tell you about it sometime." Well, this keeps the conversation light, but leaves them curious. So folks, remember, ambiguity isn't about being distant or hard to read. It's about creating a sense of intrigue that keeps the connection alive. When you master this balance, you'll find that people are naturally drawn to you, curious to uncover the layers that make you so fascinating. Comment below. I embrace mystery. Let's affirm the power of keeping things intriguing and intentional. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more insights on building deeper, more meaningful connections. Next up, we'll dive into how to plant thoughts in their mind that grow even when you're not around. You don't want to miss this. Let's keep going. Number 5, planting thoughts they can't forget. All right, folks. Let's dive into a technique that's subtle yet incredibly effective. Planting thoughts in their mind that they can't shake off. This isn't about manipulation. It's about creating meaningful moments that linger in their memory. Moments that make them think about you long after you've left the conversation. When done right, this approach leaves a lasting impression without feeling forced or unnatural. The key to planting unforgettable thoughts is to be intentional with your words and actions. It starts with what I call leaving breadcrumbs. These are small, thought-provoking comments or gestures that spark curiosity. For instance, instead of saying, "I really enjoy cooking," you might say, "There's this dish I've been perfecting. It has an interesting story behind it." By framing it this way, you're not just sharing information. You're inviting them to wonder, what's the story? What makes this dish special? This creates a sense of intrigue that keeps the conversation alive in their mind. Another powerful way to plant thoughts is through future projection. This involves subtly mentioning scenarios where they can imagine themselves with you in the future. For example, after talking about your favorite travel destination, you might say with a smile, "I bet you'd love it there. It's exactly the kind of place where you'd thrive." This not only plants a thought about the destination, but also ties it to their experience with you, making it feel personal and memorable. Timing plays a crucial role in making this technique work. You don't want to overload the conversation with too many breadcrumbs or projections. It needs to feel natural. Pick 1 or 2 moments where the interaction feels authentic and drop your comments there. When these moments are spaced out and well-timed, they feel effortless rather than calculated. Let's bring in a little Stoic wisdom here, folks. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When you plant meaningful ideas in someone's mind, you're giving them something to reflect on, something that shapes their perception of you. These thoughts don't just fade away. They deepen the connection, making you unforgettable. Body language can also amplify the impact of what you say. A knowing smile, a pause before delivering your comment, or even subtle eye contact can make your words feel more profound. For example, if you're sharing an insight about a book or movie that resonates with you, pairing your words with thoughtful body language adds depth and draws them in. Here's a practical tip for planting unforgettable thoughts. Tie your words to their interests or passions. If they've shared a goal or dream, find a way to connect your comment to that. For instance, if they're passionate about music, you might say, "You know, I could totally see you performing on stage. You've got that kind of energy that captivates people." This not only validates their aspirations, but also leaves them associating those positive feelings with you. The beauty of this approach is that it's not about being loud or flashy. It's about subtlety. The best thoughts you plant are the ones that feel organic, almost as if they've come up naturally in the conversation. When someone reflects on your interaction and finds themselves thinking about what you said, that's when you know you've left an impression. As we wrap up this step, folks, remember that planting thoughts isn't about controlling someone's mind. It's about creating connections that matter. By being intentional, thoughtful, and genuine, you can leave them with ideas and memories that keep you present in their life. Even when you're not around, comment below. I create lasting impressions. Let's affirm the power of meaningful interactions. And if you're finding these insights helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Next, we'll explore how to leave a trace without leaving a trail. You don't want to miss this. Let's keep going. Number 6. Why less is more? The trap of over-explaining. All right, folks, let's talk about a mistake we've all made at some point: saying too much. It's easy to fall into the trap of over-explaining when you're excited, nervous, or trying to impress someone. But here's the truth. Less is more. When you over-explain, you risk diluting the impact of your message, overwhelming the listener, or even coming across as uncertain. Mastering the art of saying just enough can transform the way people perceive you and make your interactions far more meaningful. Think about it this way. mystery is magnetic. When you leave a little room for curiosity, people are naturally drawn to fill in the gaps. On the other hand, when you lay everything out in detail, it leaves no space for imagination or intrigue. It's not about withholding information or being evasive. It's about creating balance, sharing enough to engage, but not so much that it feels like you're trying too hard. The first step to mastering this is recognizing why over-explaining happens. Often, it stems from a desire to be understood or to avoid being misinterpreted. You might think that the more you say, the clearer your point will be. But here's the irony. Saying too much often has the opposite effect. It can make your words lose their impact and leave the other person feeling overwhelmed or disinterested. So how do you avoid this trap? Start by focusing on clarity over quantity. Instead of flooding the conversation with details, ask yourself, what's the core idea I want to communicate? Stick to that and trust that your listener will understand. For example, instead of giving a long-winded explanation about why you enjoy a hobby, you might say, "It helps me unwind and feel creative." Or, this concise response invites curiosity and leaves room for the other person to ask questions if they want to know more. Another important aspect is reading the room. Pay attention to how the other person is reacting to what you're saying. Are they leaning in, making eye contact, and asking follow-up questions? Great. That's a sign they're engaged. But if they seem distracted or uninterested, it might be time to wrap up your point. Learning to pick up on these cues will help you adjust your communication in real time and avoid oversharing. Let's tie this back to Stoicism for a moment. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This wisdom reminds us to be intentional with our words. When you choose what to share carefully and speak with purpose, your words carry more weight. Over-explaining often comes from a lack of confidence, but when you trust in the value of what you're saying, you don't feel the need to add unnecessary details. Here's a practical tip for saying less while still making an impact. Use pauses effectively. A well-placed pause can make your words feel more thoughtful and give the listener time to absorb what you've said. For example, instead of rushing to explain your opinion, you might state it clearly and then let the moment linger. This creates a sense of presence and confidence that draws people in. Another way to practice the less is more approach is by asking questions instead of over-explaining. If someone asks about your perspective, try turning the conversation back to them. For example, if they ask why you enjoy a certain book, you might say, "I love how it explores human nature. What's your favorite part about it?" This not only keeps the interaction balanced, but also shows that you're genuinely interested in their thoughts. Folks, remember this. Over-explaining can also make you appear overly eager to please, and that can unintentionally diminish your value in someone's eyes. When you speak concisely and confidently, it sends a message that you're secure in yourself and your ideas. You don't need to justify or elaborate excessively to be understood or appreciated. Let's wrap this up with a simple exercise. The next time you're in a conversation, challenge yourself to keep your responses clear and concise. If you feel the urge to explain further, pause and see if the other person asks for more. This not only prevents over-explaining, but also gives you a chance to gauge their interest and engagement. So folks, remember, less is more. When you focus on quality over quantity, you create space for curiosity, connection, and meaningful dialogue. And that's what leaves a lasting impression. Comment below, "I speak with purpose." Let's affirm our commitment to thoughtful, intentional communication. And if this resonated with you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Next, we'll talk about how to leave a trace in their mind without leaving a trail. You don't want to miss this. Let's keep going. Number 7. Be the challenge they crave to solve. All right, folks. Let's wrap this up by diving into one of the most captivating dynamics you can create: becoming the challenge they crave to solve. Humans are naturally drawn to puzzles, mysteries, and things that aren't easily understood. When you embody this energy, you create a sense of intrigue and depth that keeps people coming back for more. Here's the thing: being a challenge doesn't mean playing hard to get or being aloof. It's about being multifaceted, someone who inspires curiosity and engagement. You're not trying to frustrate them. You're giving them a reason to invest their time and energy into understanding you. When someone feels like there's always more to discover about you, they'll naturally want to dig deeper. The first step is to stay unpredictable. Routine and predictability can quickly dull even the strongest connections. Instead, keep them guessing by adding variety to your interactions. This could be as simple as changing how you communicate, sometimes being direct, other times playful and mysterious. For example, instead of immediately responding to a compliment with gratitude, you might say with a smile, "I'll take that as a good sign." This subtle shift keeps the dynamic fresh and engaging. Another key to being a challenge is embracing your independence. People are naturally drawn to those who have a full, rich life of their own. When you show that you're not dependent on their validation or attention, it makes your presence feel more valuable. Pursue your passions, set goals, and prioritize your growth. This not only enhances your sense of self, but also makes others see you as someone worth investing in. Here's a crucial element. Folks, don't reveal everything all at once. Mystery is a powerful force, and leaving some things unsaid or unexplored creates a sense of anticipation. For example, if someone asks about a goal you're working on, you might say, "It's something close to my heart. I'll tell you more when the time's right." This keeps them curious and engaged without feeling shut out. Lastly, remember that being a challenge doesn't mean being distant or cold. It's about creating a dynamic where they feel inspired to step up. Whether it's intellectual stimulation, shared values, or emotional depth, show them that connecting with you is something special, something worth working for. When you become the challenge they crave to solve, you're not just creating attraction, you're building a connection rooted in curiosity and mutual growth. And that, folks, is the foundation of something truly unforgettable. Thanks for joining me today, folks. Remember, the power to create meaningful, unforgettable connections is within you. When you embrace these steps, you're not just building better relationships, you're becoming someone who leaves a lasting impact. If this video resonated with you, hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights. Until next time, stay confident, stay curious, and keep growing. You've got this.